You know those physical scratch cards, right? The kind you grab at the gas
Oh,
station.
yeah, definitely.
They seem so simple. You scratch them off, maybe win a little something. Instant thrill.
Totally straightforward.
But okay, take that exact idea, put it online, and suddenly, well, it feels like we're in some seriously murky water.
Uh-huh.
Like this strange legal gray zone. It seems innocent, but these online scratch cards, they actually bring up some really complex questions. Legality, fairness, even ethics.
Absolutely. And that's really our mission for this deep dive, isn't it? To
Yeah.
unpack why they sit in this sort of legal gray area.
Right.
We need to look at how different places, different regions, and even just how the products themselves are set up,
Mm.
how that defines if they're legit or ethically questionable.
Mm-hmm.
We've been digging through quite a stack of articles, research, trying to get to the bottom of it for you.
Okay, great. So let's dive in. Let's try and get a handle on this because it really affects how digital games and, chance are regulated everywhere. So when you first see these online scratch cards, they often look a lot like slot games, visually speaking.
They really do.
You get the bright lights, flashing animations, the instant win, messages popping up, very casino-like.
Yeah, they borrow heavily from that aesthetic.
But if they look so much like slots, what's the actual legal difference? Why aren't they just treated exactly like online slots? Is it some kind of loophole?
Well, that's the heart of the gray zone, right? Despite looking and feeling a lot like slot machines, the laws governing them, they're just not always that clear-cut.
Ah.
The legal definition can really hang on these subtle little differences in, say, how the game mechanic works or how it's presented, and that just creates ambiguity for regulators. It's not always a deliberate loophole. Sometimes it's just genuinely hard to categorize.
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting, especially looking at the U.S. Because an online scratch card might be seen as like a lottery product in one state.
Right.
And then you cross a state line, metaphorically speaking, and suddenly it's viewed as a casino product. Why is it so inconsistent?
Well, it creates some very specific, very tricky regulatory hurdles. Think about it. Some states might say, yeah, online lottery games are fine, which, could technically include a digital scratch card.
Right, that makes sense.
But those same states might have an absolute ban on digital casinos. So if your scratch card is designed to look and feel almost exactly like a slot machine,
Uh-oh.
yeah, that product could run into serious regulatory trouble. Especially, and this is key, if it's run by a private company instead of the state lottery itself.
So who's running the game matters a lot.
It's crucial. State-operated lotteries often have specific legal carve-outs, special permissions. Private companies trying to offer something similar, they usually don't get that same protection. It's as much about who is offering it as what is being offered. And if we look over at Europe, they're navigating their own kind of tightrope. The UK is a good example here.
Okay. The UK.
So the UK Gambling Commission, they do regulate online scratch cards. They're definitely on the radar.
So I sense a but coming.
Well, yeah, there's growing pressure to tighten the rules up. The main concern is how these online games really blur the line between what we think of as traditional gambling and maybe just casual gaming.
And we are seeing these online scratch cards adding more and more game-like features, aren't we?
Definitely.
Like you see levels you can reach, really slick animations, sometimes even little characters guiding you along. It feels less like buying a ticket and more like playing a mobile game sometimes.
Exactly. And that brings up a really important ethical question, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels like it.
Are we, maybe without meaning to, gamifying gambling, making it so much like a regular game that we're potentially targeting vulnerable users or making it harder for people to stop? It's not just about making things fun. It's about adding these, habit-forming elements, progression, instant rewards, constant feedback into something where real money's on the line. The worry is it makes self-control harder, leads to more play and maybe more risk.
And then there's the crypto world, which feels like a whole other level of complexity. We're seeing decentralized scratch card games pop up now.
Oh, yeah. And what's fascinating here is this area is even more legally slippery than the regular online stuff.
How so?
Well, think about it. Often there's no central company in charge. There's often no KYC, know your customer checks to verify who's playing.
Right, no identity checks.
And it's really hard to say where these games are even operating from,
Well,
legally speaking. No clear jurisdiction. Regulators are just, they're struggling to keep up.
so it's kind of a Wild West situation.
It really is. The key thing is, without that traditional oversight, a lot of the risk just falls directly onto the player.
Yeah.
If something goes wrong, there's often nobody to turn to. Player protection can be Pretty minimal.
Okay, something else worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Sometimes providers use these scratch card mechanics, but as part of promotions, like no-risk offers when you sign up.
Yes, that's a common tactic.
And on the surface, it sounds harmless, like getting a free go, a free chance to win.
That's exactly the appeal, but it's often deceptive. You really, really have to dig into the fine print.
What's hiding in there?
Often things like wagering requirements, meaning, okay, you won maybe 10 quid on your free card, but you might have to bet, say, hundreds or even thousands of pounds of your own money before you can actually withdraw that tenner.
Wow, okay. That's not really free then.
Not at all. Plus, you'll find expiry deadlines for the bonus, weird restrictions on which games count toward the wagering. It gets complicated fast. What seemed like a simple, fun little bonus can quickly become this confusing trap, locking users into spending more than they ever intended.
So, after going through all this, the different regions, the tech, the promotions, what does it all boil down to? Are online scratch cards actually legal or not? It still feels a bit fuzzy.
Yeah, it does. Look, the short answer is basically, it depends.
Depends on what?
It depends entirely on where you live, geographically, and it depends very specifically on how the provider has structured the game itself. Those subtle mechanics matter.
Okay, so that's the short answer.
That's the short answer. The long answer, well, honestly, it's still being written. It's being shaped right now by lawyers, by regulators, and by an industry that moves incredibly fast. It's constantly changing.
Right. So it's clear then, this whole world of online scratch cards, it's definitely not settled territory. The legality, the fairness, those really important ethical questions, they're all still very much up in the air, being debated, being tweaked.
Absolutely. It's the dynamic space. And that whole debate around fairness, legality, ethics,
Yeah.
it's definitely going to keep evolving as the technology and the industry keep pushing forward. It's a conversation that's far from over.
So until things become clearer, perhaps the best advice comes from one of our sources. Just scratch carefully.
Good advice.
And maybe next time you see one of these digital games of chance, take a second to think about those bigger questions about digital gambling, regulation, and what it all means, not just for these games, but for, all our online interactions involving chance or money.